My father didn't think was that great. But I love it. And he indulged me. And this was the last poem we ever worked on together for a teacher I had who was the most difficult, persnickety professor I had ever had, save one. And I'm going to intersperse the poet's lines with my own lines. And if you'd like to see the whole poem by itself, find me after. In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. Look, 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 says the poet. My father, as you may know, was proud of being a native Californian. But I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, to my grandmother's dismay. And I knew him best in the ridges and valleys surrounding State College, in the contours of academia, the advent of thunderstorms, the switchblade leaves of new irises, and the frost on the window of the Valley View house. Look, the trees are turning. Fall was my father's favorite Pennsylvania season. The beginning of the semester, so stressful for him and his whole family. So full of promise. Students taking their seats, the rhythm of teaching returning, the purpling of fox grapes on the oaks, and the blush of sumac on Nixon Road between Pine Grove Mills and Whitehall. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars. The library, Burroughs Building, Sparks, the great edifices, these were his temples, as we all know. But he was a visual artist as well as a teacher of literature, and his eyes were always on the opening flower, the drifting leaf, the golden fall around the ginkgo, the faces in driftwood, and the pillared temple of the woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. In Rothrock State Forest, I sometimes went with him and the other woodsmen, Bob, and Homer, as they cut down dead and down trees for firewood. I remember the sounds of the woods, the quiet and the chatter, as well as how different Daddy seemed at physical labor outside than he was in his festive ties and rolled up sleeves, briefcase in hand, ready for class. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. The year is winding down. Fall is soon hard upon us. The days are shortening, the light slants, and the visible signs of life in this part of the world will begin to sag, wither, drop away, and decay. On August 18th, the day he died, we could still call it summer, but even then the light was turning golden and losing the fierce platinum of summer. Every year, Oliver writes, every year, not just this year, not the year he died. Every year, everything I have ever learned, Not just the poems, not just the names of trees, the colors of sunsets, the word crepuscular, schadenfreude, raspberry, and dim. Not just these, she says, but everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. My father taught one tradition's visions of salvation in its art, music, and literature. And yet in the end, he realized these visions were not for him. For him, reading, remembering, teaching, and knowing the conversation need never end. This is salvation. She goes on. To live in this world. One of the things my father taught me from a very young age was the importance of being alive. Alive, and to make you alive. To make his students alive. It was his hope for every student he ever had that they would be more alive. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things. To love what is mortal. For as long as I can remember, my father's death hung over me as something that could happen any day. From the time I came home from school to find him on the floor in the throes of hypoglycemia, I knew that diabetes was a disease that could kill at any time the one who made the sun rise and set. To hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it. We are more than what our parents have made of us, and yet some fruits fall close to the tree. When I look at my hands, I see my father's hands, and his mother's hands before his. When I catch myself laughing without warning, throwing my head back, uncaring of the place or the propriety, I know I did not come by these things on my own. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it. And when the time comes to let it go, to let it go.